Oh, I've forgotten how to operate anything and everything. Ease. Hey guys, I'm BoredGamer. You may remember me from such channels as BoredGamer and Twitch streams as BoredGamer. I'm pretty rough today. Got a kidney infection. I feel like everything aches. I'm hotter than the sun, not in a good way, and I'm not doing a video today. But in between lucidity and generally being lying in my bed going, I'm feeling really sorry for myself, I thought I'd share my pain with other people and help bring them down to my level. So hi, I just wanted to sort of like talk some Star Citizen-y stuff, share my general hate of life currently, just because I feel rough, and we'll have a little look at the Vulture. Let's go and have a look at that now. If you want to ask any questions, if you just put question in brackets and then ask whatever, it can be about Star Citizen, it can be about me. You look really well. Thanks. Appreciated. We've got the Vulture here. The sale goes online probably tonight for those of you who have spent horrendous amounts of money on the game. Then you might have access to the preview now. And the preview is literally just talking about the Drake being a solo salvage ship. The Vulture's pretty cool. It is a... This is funny. Okay, so let me... it's a... design-wise... Oh, design-wise... Let's go to this picture. Realised I've just logged onto a different account for potentially Evocati purposes. Design-wise, it's a dragonfly stuck to a... I mean, the rear looks a little bit more like a Prospect now I look at it, but like a Cutlass. However, when we've got the first prong of this vehicle, and like a midsection of it. One of my mods, Giran, said, "Oh, it looks a bit like the ore frigate." So I talked about it in a stream and talked a little bit about it on Reddit, and seemed to have started. Oh my God, CIG stole this. And like, it's similar shape-wise, but I mean, it's clearly a dragonfly and a cutlass stuck together, and like you get, is it convergent design and stuff like that? I mean, it's clearly not copied, maybe influenced. I suppose a dev could have had a look at it. It's just very unlikely that they stole the design. But I thought it was funny. It just there was a couple of articles going, "Oh, well, this looks very similar." Well, I'm sure a lot of the ships look similar to other things. If you start looking at World War II planes, I just thought it was funny. And I apologise to anyone that I may have caused issues with by comparing them. It's Giran, actually. Giran, it's your fault. But yeah. The footage in the background is a load of the footage from ATVs over the last month. Good afternoon. Wider PTU is going to be soon. We just don't know when. And if I did know, it was either Carly, but well, I don't know. So I didn't know, I couldn't tell you. That'd be a fucking lie if I can tell you. As long as it wasn't fully NDA'd or something. But no, it's we don't know yet. Either Cardi builds have been just that, either Cardi builds, which means they're not ready for larger public consumption. The joy of when it goes to wider PTU is that we can make videos on it. So I can do patch notes videos, I can do some gameplay stuff, I can talk about what's new, I can fuck around in it, do some streams of it. And I suspect that we'll go to wider PTU between now and next Friday, which is pretty realistic. Yeah, I'm sort of. I mean, I know this is gonna maybe garner me some anger or hate, but I'm kind of wishing it doesn't go to 3.2 wider PTU for personal reasons this weekend. Just because I really don't want to make many videos. I feel fucking rough. And I know I don't have to, but you know, it's stupid not to when you're a YouTuber, when your main way of making money is from people watching your videos. Sorry if I'm quite sort of like, oh, woe is me. I've got, kidney infection is basically man flu for me. I can hear bored coding. I can't code for shit. I'm good at identifying things. I'm pretty like aware of bugs and aware of how to break things and what might cause them, but I can't code. I don't understand code. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will get well as soon as I can. They called it very early because anytime I feel rough at all or think something's odd, I will go to the doctor. I haven't played much of Dying Light 1. I bought a load of copies of Dying Light 1. Someone's asked, are you keen for Dying Light 2? I bought a load of copies of Dying Light 1 for me, Zin, DC, and I think Kit to play, and we haven't played it very much at all. So not that keen for Dying Light 2. I'll check it out at some point. Some of the games at E3 that I am excited about. I was quite excited about Anthem, but it looks too MMO-like to me, and it's like a cross between Destiny 2 and Warframe. It sort of literally looks like what they're trying to combine together. But Warframe has more variety of units. And Destiny 2 is quite fun, but quite short gameplay-wise. Attila, thank you very much for the sub. Much appreciated. Any donations and all that sort of jazz at the moment are going to be going towards new hardware for streaming, specifically. Want to start getting into doing regular gameplay of Star Citizen. And I also want to get Kit, DC, Zen, G, and Noodle all appropriate equipment, and Zin, appropriate equipment to be able to stream with me and record all of their content so I can splice it together. I don't want someone having 20 frames per second when I've got 60 and then having to splice their footage into mine. And so I'm going to equip those guys over the next couple of months. Yeah, the new ship, yeah, it's very similar shape, the ore ship, and the one from Eve, definitely. I'm pretty sure they didn't steal it. I mean, it looks like a dragonfly and a cutlass, doesn't it? Stuck together, so. So we're currently in Eva Carty wave PTU. It will be. They seem to have changed a little bit the way they do the PTU waves. So it's Eva Carty, then it's subscriber and concierge wave, and then it's first wave. And first wave is people that are pretty active on the issue council, pretty active at playing each build they can, but are not Eva Carty. Too ugly to have been stolen. I hope you're talking about the ship and not me, mate. Yeah, so it's I sort of semi want a Vulture, even though I have a Reclaimer. I probably won't get one. Oh, maybe I should get one for content. Probably get one pretty quick in game. Pretty easy in game. So they said in ATV they were talking about the terminals, the consoles, for the shop kiosks, and they said this is the first step in getting items and weapons and ships in game to be purchasable. So obviously not a confirmation for 3.2. Quite unlikely to have buyable ships in 3.2 now, but it's still a possibility. Very unlikely though. We can talk about server meshing if you want, Sam. I mean, it's literally the spinning up of servers based on players in the area. So you can have each of the areas cut down into as many object containers and boxes as you want, and then each of those boxes can be run by servers or multiple servers, and you spin them up and spin them down based on the population and where it's moving to. But the idea is have everyone, or as many people as you can on one shard, even if it's sort of like potentially they could have multiple layers of the same map if they had to, but the idea is to have everyone on the same server, same god server. Well, they're technically on multiple servers, and there's seamless transition between each of the areas, but you're all on one shard. It's quite likely. I think it's quite likely that we will have beta in about 2 years for Star Citizen. But if you had to pick a random word to describe the 600i in the PTU, what would that random non-NDA violating word be? I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna pick a phrase. Surprisingly large. The ship is big. You've seen. It's not breaking NDA because you've seen it. You've seen it already. You just probably didn't understand the scale of it. It's big. Much bigger than a constellation. Even though you know it's big. You can see. I mean, it was really fucking expensive in the sale. Maybe you can't see why it was that expensive. Definitely one to get in game, but it's cool. Well, the main reason I've come online is because I'm bored as hell in my house, and I haven't got the concentration value to have to make a video at all. And what I'm probably going to do, the Vulture thing will come out, and the RTV will come out, and I'll probably watch Noob's video to make a skeleton notes, and then watch the RTV, sort of like, and read the sales semi-asleep. Like, it's what I do when I'm like trying to read German. I will read a translation of the German article and then read it in German. So I sort of like loads of words I don't fucking understand. So I sort of like have a much easier that way in my head. I was talking about Anthem. I will check out Anthem. It might be really cool. I'll probably be checking out Division 2 because I really like Division. Fallout 76 is probably the game that's excited me the most because it looks a little bit more than. It looks like you've got a game you can play, which is sandbox open world, and should have a constant late game content. It's going to be like, it's going to have a storyline and stuff as well in your world, Fallout, but you can play with your friends, and it's got Rust-like elements. You can build these camps, you can attack people. It's not going to be hundreds of people on each server. You're going to be moving between servers, sort of like, without knowing it. They seamlessly, but it's more sort of like they can only support like 48 or 36 people on a server. So you'll be having other people in the world with you, where you go and do stuff, and you can fight them and stuff if you want. So I think it's an interesting one. It depends how it's handled to know if it's really good, but I'm looking forward to it. Depends on the amount of late game content. Can't stop thinking about that Last of Us trailer. Yeah, so I like Ellie as a character, and I liked Last of Us, and Last of Us 2 looks more like, it's obviously going to have some zombie influence, but it looks more like dystopian humanity future, where a lot of your people you're fighting are humans, which is pretty cool. Like, I'm pretty up for stealthy games, and that sort of stuff, and it does that very well. It's got like the Tomb, got the. I wish Tomb Raider was more stealthy as well. So. Yeah, so Anthem does seem like it's got a seamless open world, but I'm not sure how big that world is, or how big that world will feel. So, and the amount of gameplay content. My worry is it's going to have the same or less as Destiny 2 content-wise release. I think that's my worry about a lot of these games. And with Fallout 76, I suspect it'll have a good amount of content because the way it does leveling at the very least. Question, do you think the cargo door should be on the front and not the back? No, so with the Vulture, you want... let's get rid of that. So that's like more of the scrap door at the front, and then it will go into the processing area and then be put into cubes, and then you can mess around with it in the cargo. So you want both of those. You're not seeing what I'm seeing, are you? Let's do that. So that's the cargo thing at the back, and you want to be able to get to your cargo easily. I see what you mean. Maybe a combined cargo scrap nommer at the front might have been a better idea. See. But maybe there's not enough room. So your noms in scrap at the front, processes it, makes it into cubes. At the back, you'll want to be able to get access to that by going in there. But also, if you're trying to salvage components, valuables, like weapons, power plants and stuff, you want to grab them yourself by hand and store them in the back of your ship. I really like the idea of the Vulture. Now it's got a bit more of a purpose than I thought it did. I mean, I want the Kraken more than that. But, when can we purchase ships in-game? Potentially with 3.2, though it looks much more unlikely, seeing they seemed like they haven't really answered that question, even when the community has asked it to them directly. And in fact, the last thing I heard about it, well, last thing I previously heard about it before last night was, we're not answering that question, which is like, wow. But they talked very, very sort of like off the cuff about it in ATV, saying that the item kiosks and shop kiosks that they've got at the moment that they're working on are the first steps of getting items, weapons, and ships in-game. So, obviously not 100% not a confirmation of it going to be in 3.2, but it doesn't rule it out. I think I do think it's unlikely, though. It has been way too long. We need it in-game. Do we know if we finally get our alpha UEC balance reflective of our UEC balance? That was supposed to be in 3.1. I can only assume, JP's eyes, that it's going to be in 3.2. They keep on saying stuff like, oh yeah, that's the plan. So, I still believe that's the plan. Also, we're supposed to be getting the ability to melt our Voyager Direct items if we want to. Bear that in mind. 111. One of my main goals in Star Citizen is to find a derelict Bengal, repair it, and then ram a space whale. Do you have any major goals to work towards? Oh, I don't know yet, to be honest. I mean, that's a bloody good question. I want to see what the late game for Star Citizen's like. A lot of my stuff will do with industry and base building. I mean, capturing ships, capturing a Bengal is obviously pretty big. Destroying boarding Vandal ships, pretty big. I don't 100% know yet, though. I suppose I want to make a name for myself in the verse, not just because I create content for it. Yeah, we talked about that. When they talked about the ship that would become the Vulture, they originally said it would be a Spartan starter ship, but now they're selling it more than a Cutlass. I see what you mean. So, it's $120. I would have liked it to be a little bit less than that. I do think you're getting quite good value with the Cutlass for $100, though. No, I see what you mean. I would have preferred it to be like $90. I mean, it's got functions, it's got uses. It is the first tier salvage ship, and I can see what you mean. It is pretty Spartan as well. Like, it doesn't do that much other than process the scrap and have the stripping lasers. And the rest of your stuff's doing it by hand. Why no E3 coverage? Well, because lots of other people do it better than me. I'll probably do a summary of Fallout 76, because that's the game I was most interested in. Potentially I'll start looking at Anthem at some point as well. If Fallout 76 is great, and I'm like, I look at it and go, yeah, I want to do this, I'll be doing lots of streams of it, and potentially put a little bit of it on the main channel. If not, it'll go on the secondary channel. Board, what is your prediction on the full release date, and how confident are you with that prediction? Not confident at all with the prediction. But I'll say to as confident as I can be, without seeing their full schedule and being part of their company. I think beta in 2 years, probably a full release in 3. That's my expectation for Star Citizen. Chris, so I mean, the scope of the game changed at the end of 2013, and they had to build a studio. So I mean, lots of games have taken longer than that to develop, from concept to creation. It's irrelevant how long it's taken, isn't it? We just want it at some point, and we want it to be good. The more of a genuine worry, rather than like, well, they've taken ages to develop it or whatever, would be, is the game going to be good when it comes out? Is it going to be shit? Is it going to be overly monetized? Things like that. Like the overly monetized thing. The game at the moment wouldn't have been built, concepted, wouldn't be being developed if it had not been for their development model, funds-wise. So there's that to consider. But yeah, looking at the future, the community need to make sure that it's not pay to win. Obviously, CIG have promised that it won't be, but there's definitely going to be pay to advantage, because, you know, these big fucking ships that you can buy. So inequality in the verse is fine. Like, you play Eve now, you can join an Eve now, you can become really powerful in Eve. It doesn't matter that people have better stuff than you. That's the same with Elite Dangerous and all those other games as well. Same as any MMO. What you don't want is you to be locked behind never being able to catch someone up that has paid. And you don't want that route to be so easy and so unbalanced that it ruins your game and becomes pay to win. So we've got to make sure that doesn't happen. Also, lots of other games have gone into early access and never come out of early access. And people go, oh, this is a developed game. It's like, nah, no, it's not. And Rust's been going for a pretty long time. It was going for a pretty long time. I'm curious to know your take on Squadron 42 release. Is this going to be before or after? Almost certainly before. Like, Squadron 42, the episode 1, could come out this year. It's unlikely, because they haven't talked about it, and it's not on the roadmap that typically covers 12 months. But it could be. I would expect from my studio tours and what they talk about on the monthly reports that Squadron 42 is pretty close. Pretty close is relative, though. I think within about 12 to 18 months. Within that. Squadron 42 Episode 1 will be ready before Star Citizen. Yeah, so I have sympathy for Kickstarter backers when backing the game. The scope of the game has changed significantly. It is not the same game at all. However, I have sympathy, but I wouldn't have been interested in Star Citizen had the scope not changed. I only got interested in December of 2013. Yeah, so it is a solo salvage ship. See if I can catch up a little bit. I've played Elite before. It's a little bit too don't want to use the word dull. It doesn't hold my interest enough. I was more interested in the arena play. That held my interest a little bit longer. When will I start accepting applications to my org? As soon as I feel better. Between now and the start of next month, I'll set it up properly. Because I would need to have a little bit of a structure so that we're at least doing stuff semi-regularly, or people know what the hell's going on with it. Even if everyone joins as an affiliate, I want it to be, want it to have some sort of like goal and theme, and people understand what's going on. Anthem is guaranteed to be a 7 or 8 out of 10 average game. Okay. Don't know. Don't have enough information on it yet. There's a lot of games like Cyberpunk and that sort of stuff that I'm interested in, not enough information on yet. Like Starfield. Okay. There's a tiny amount of information on that, and people are like, do you think this is going to be a Star Citizen killer or something? I was like, well, number one, no, because anything that brings more attention to space games and that sort of stuff probably will just increase the amount of people that want to play them. If it's a really shit space game, then maybe it will damage the viewership for Star Citizen. And also we just know nothing about it other than it's an IP that now exists, confirmed exists. Can I send you brownies to bring to CIG to make the Retaliator fly better in Atmo, please? It flies like a drunken stork. They are looking at what IFCS and ESP and the atmospheric flight is getting tweaks, more tweaks for 3.2. Obviously 3.1.4 helped a lot, or at least some, but there's still a load of work to go. They've also talked about the Retaliator potentially having gravity-assisted bombs, which would suggest to me that they will be looking at it in quite a lot of detail for atmospheric flight at some point. I would actually like, I mean, people are making the comparison between the Venture and the Vulture. I would like a big ore frigate, but we've got the Orion, so that will do. An Eve mod for Star Citizen is a good shout. I'm sure people will do that in the future. After hearing what they said yesterday in ATV regarding the terminals and how they were the first step to implementing purchasing ships without VVC, in what patch do you think they'll come? I don't know. I thought they were coming in 3.0. Then I was told they were probably coming in 3.1. Well, they were coming in 3.1. And then they've refused to answer the questions about them for 3.2. I want them for 3.2. I don't know when. If they don't come for 3.2, well, I'll expect them in 3.3. It's something I do want to pressure CIG about, because I do think there's very little excuse to not have them in the game now. Question for you, Board. If you put Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen side by side, how similar are they? Well, I mean, Elite Dangerous has got the benefit of being a finished product. Not that similar, really, I suppose. Well, I mean, they definitely have similarities. They're both space sims. They both have relatively shallow gameplay at the moment when it comes to the modular missions and stuff. I mean, Star Citizen has a lot more potential for ground-based gameplay. But at the moment, Star Citizen's got none of its mechanics in, really. Yeah, they're not too similar, and they both exist in spaces. Like, I would suggest that Elite Dangerous is more of an arcade experience. But there's probably a lot more depth to Elite Dangerous that I haven't seen. I like the idea of the Thargoids and stuff, but oh, taking over an Idris would be so cool. I think like when they've got the border mechanics and stuff, that would be pretty exciting. I am worried about breaching. Like, where do you breach? I think they've suggested that it's just on certain breaching points and turrets that you can blow off and stuff, and obviously like landing bays and things, and the general entrance points. Base building is an interesting idea. Would you prefer a ground or space station? I want both. I think ground, if I had to choose one or the other, ground bases. But I would like space stations as well. I do want them, however, to give us a full sort of like feature list. So we have the roadmap, which shows us what they've got scheduled for the next 12 months. But I would like for us to have these are all of the features for the game listed, and they say because then we know. And I think it's much better for visibility, and people can see that as more of a feature-locked list. Yeah, stuff will change, obviously, and some of the things will get broken down. They'll see extra modules they need to add to stuff. Hello, fellow sick person. Do you reckon CIG might give us the ability to melt individual ships down out of packages as opposed to taking off and nuking the whole package? No, it's very unlikely you'll ever be able to melt individual ships out of a package. It's not how their system works. Do you guys think Star Citizen should support mods and modded universe? 100%. Yeah, they've said they will support mods after release, and I still believe I still believe there will be private servers as well. Yeah, we'll have like Battlestar Galactica ones, 40k ones, Star Wars ones. I'm not sure if they'll do a mod store or something. I'm hoping it will be totally community free reign.
Tricksy little hobbitses.
Stuff M3, thank you very much for the sub. Much appreciated. Remember, Board, we might not be the best at E3 coverage. I haven't done any. But we watch you because we enjoy your content. Oh, thank you very much. Very much appreciated. I'm quite good at compressing things into summaries because I'm dyslexic and because my attention span's actually pretty low. So I break stuff into notes that I understand and I can use to explain to other people, which is why I started doing my videos in the way I did. Oh, the javelin has a name. I've got it written down somewhere. The javelin has a name. My community voted on it. What are my thoughts on agent smithing? Well, it got a bit confusing, the agent smithing thing. So this is where your character basically remote controls an NPC. Now, CIG, or at least Disco, thought it was where your character literally takes over that NPC and becomes that NPC, but that NPC is replaced by the character, which is odd. I like the idea of remote controlling NPCs, but there needs to be restrictions to that, because obviously otherwise people would have really cheap, shitty NPCs and just have them all controlled by players, because that would be an efficient way of running a ship. I like the idea. But they basically said no. They originally they said in calling all devs, no agent smithing. And then later on Reddit, Disco said, oh, when I said no agent smithing, what I meant is no teleporting to other players. We will look at the remote gameplay later. The MPUV has come out. Hydro glider.
Dodging bullets.
Oh, thank you very much.
Beautiful.
Sibakana. I mean, I see you on the channel all the time. I have no idea how to say someone's name. And every time I see someone's name, it's like I've seen it for the first time. I'm the worst. Thank you very much for the cheer. Yes, Zelf99. I will be taking part in the Cyclone Tamar rally. In fact, here is some details on the Tamar rally. I'll be recording, messing around. We will be more of a comedy team. Because I will be taking people that have never or have played very little Star Citizen. And DC will be an idiot, Zen will be an idiot, and if we have Zin or G, they'll probably be the most sensible one on our team. I think the Hurricane, once the turrets are working perfectly, and once we have more ships and more stuff in game, I think the Hurricane will be a bit more balanced for what it's supposed to be. At the moment, well, you have to see when they actually goes 3.2 goes to wider PTU. Then, did we establish whether or not they're going to sell the F8 Lightning or not? Well, it's interesting you say that. They basically said they weren't going to sell it, and then they said that you'll be able to get access to it in game, to buy in game. Once you do certain levels of Squadron 42. So Squadron 42 stuff will allow you to access certain military-grade equipment. You'll be able to get access to it other ways if you haven't bought Squadron 42, if you're just playing Star Citizen. The higher level concierge members, so people that have spent a lot of money on their accounts, they get access to it as well. I think it's Wing Commanders and up, so $10,000 or more spent. Wing Commanders and Legatus Navium, which I will link here. They get access to it as well. In fact, they get one free each. The Legatus get two. So that's pretty cool for them. In the monthly report, though, they said they were working on marketing materials for it, which suggests to me that it might be sold, because it's pretty much ready. So we'll have to wait and see, though. If they did sell it, it will probably be a civilian model of it, so it will be the F8C rather than the F8A or the F8 military version. On Drop Frames, they talked about Star Citizen recently. Yes, I saw. I messaged them about it as well. And they said they wanted guests sometimes to discuss it. I thought of you, interested. Yes, I have emailed them and I have tweeted them. I said I will happily go on their show if they want someone to talk about Star Citizen with. As a fan, I think I'm relatively reasonable. I'm not going to take offense if they don't like something. And they're more than welcome to ask me questions. However, I'm certainly not going to be there to defend CIG or any of their practices and stuff. People are allowed to have their own opinions about stuff, and that's reasonable. Are you feeling healthy? No, I feel rough as AF. I'm incredibly hot in a bad way. I'm pretty tired, but sort of like bored as hell. Everything aches, and my kidney hurts, which is why I'm sitting oddly forward. Yeah, I've got a kidney infection that they're being flushed with antibiotics and stuff at the moment. Oh, it didn't hurt too much, although I felt a bit rough, until the doctor on Wednesday actually poked my kidney. They couldn't work out what was wrong because all my samples came back healthy, other than white blood cells saying that yeah, you've got quite a high white blood cell count, which means you are fighting an infection somewhere. We just don't know where. And when she poked my kidney, and she didn't take her fingers out either, she poked my kidney and just kept them there. And went, "You don't like that, do you?" So I'd been. She like poked me in my gallbladder and my appendix. And she's like, "Well, I can actually poke quite hard here." And it's like, well, it's uncomfortable when you do that, but it's not like painful. When she poked me in the kidney, it was like she had stabbed me. It was like she was stabbing and twisting a knife into me constantly, and I almost hit her. Like she because it was like she didn't remove her fingers for like 5 to 8 seconds or something. I was like, I need to make this stop, and I can't really talk. It was like, It's horrible. Also, I'm clearly a poos. Do you think the Vulture might get a bit of fast-tracked? Or do you think it might get fast-tracked because of the salvage gameplay? I think all ships that they concept now are going to have a significantly quicker cycle to being alive, especially smaller ships. Yeah, I mean, maybe not fast-tracked, but I think it will get built relatively quickly. I mean, they've got the Drake pipeline really nailed down. Yeah, Starfield info, it's a game. Cyberpunk looked cool, but not enough information on it. I like the idea that it's first person, though. I'm excited about Fallout 76. I'm a good few minutes behind, so apologies if I'm re-answering questions. Why do you think the space games have increased in popularity in the last few years? I don't really know. I mean, there's cycles of gameplay. There's a huge amount more gamers, and there's a huge amount more people being able to play games because
Tricksy little hobbits.
Viewers are cheaper and the barriers to entry to play games are lower. A Lark Feast, thank you very much. So the vastness of space games have increased, and there's been some really good ones like Halo and Destiny and stuff that have really increased the industry. Meet Dangerous has been popular. Eve's been popular. The idea of Star Citizen is popular. It's loads of factors. Do you have any idea about the amounts of NPCs on screen at any given time? You know, the Idris will have 80 or something being simulated around you. Now, they can actually simulate a lot of NPCs and all of their behavior. I think they can do hundreds quite easily, and that's not an issue. It's an issue if they're combat NPCs. It's an issue if they're like all running around to fight something or do something. So I don't know how many are going to be simulated around you at any time. A reasonable amount. As many as is sensible, I suppose, is what they'd say. Do you believe they should just remove atmospheric flight from bikes? I would like, when the bike is in atmosphere, it to be pretty much locked to the ground. So sort of, yeah. Do you know anything about the 3.3 Cortex container streaming network bind culling? Yeah, so object container streaming is the main piece of Star Citizen Cortex they need to get ready for performance and for doing a huge amount of stuff they want to do in the game. It allows them to capital ships, it allows them to do large planets, and that sort of stuff. Basically, what it does is it cuts areas up into sections. Those sections have a list of entities and things that need to be streamed in and out of your memory based on how far you are away from them. And using that, they have a huge amount of efficiency when it comes to your RAM, your graphics card RAM, and processing power. And you'll seamlessly move between object containers. Object containers can be in hierarchies as well, so you can have smaller and smaller object containers within areas. But basically, they're just a list of components and entities and textures and things that can easily be streamed in and out of your memory. And then that leverages and works with network bind culling, which will literally cull entities on the server based on distance. Now, the whole universe will be cut up into object containers, and ships can be object containers or multiple object containers. So an Idris could be 10 or more object containers if they wanted to, and that allows them to basically increase performance significantly. Basically, what object containers are, it works with a load of their other core tech as well,
little hobbits
and physics grids and stuff. Relapse, thank you very much for the continued subbage, appreciated. The next major thing after that is, and probably the last piece of core tech, is server meshing, which will work with that as well, which will then, I believe, use the object container stream, object containers to work out population, and then servers will run object containers, I think, somewhere on the hierarchy. So it could be the Stanton system could be one object container that servers run, but if there's 1,000 people there, then multiple servers will then break down those object containers into more servers being used to do that, to power that, you know what I mean? I'm a little bit confused because fever and hot and kidney. So apologies if I'm a bit rambly. Do you think we'll see Vulture racing in the future? Yeah, why not? People want to race it, you can race it. You'll be able to do scramble races like that. I like the idea of a... actually, I'm going to suggest to Moist Noodle, because we're doing a charity event at some point soon. I'll suggest him doing a scavenger hunt for Star Citizen. So have a load of streamers and people that want to compete, they're recording whatever, and you get points based. You get like an hour, and you get points based on each of these tasks and things that you can do, and do this mission, talk to this guy, kill this guy, and so you get points based on that. But I like the idea of having a salvage race, where it's you have an hour, and who can get the most salvage, or a particular type of salvage in that time, in a particular ship. I hear about the 3.2 having the Warlock Titan. Yeah. So 3.2 should have all of the Avengers reworked, including the Renegade, I believe. But we haven't talked about that. I think it's just a skin, effectively. A whole bunch of changes and stuff. But yes, all of the Warlocks are in there. It's the Stalker, the Warlock, and the Titan for the Avenger. All the Avengers. Love you, Garen. Take care, bro. Will vehicles flying around on ArcCorp or Hurston be set dressing, or can you shoot them down for them to landing zones? Don't 100% know. I think it's probably a bad idea to attack anything on a populated planet. I think that will be incredibly high. You're going to have to do several years or several hours of gameplay to reduce your crime stat. But we don't know, don't 100% know if ships will be set dressing, if you'll be able to shoot cities and stuff like that. I don't think that's what they want, though. I like the look of Fallout 76. I want multiplayer games that I can play with my mates and co-op stuff. GTFO is another game I'm looking at. There's the Walking Dead game that's co-op as well. That looks cool. The Warlock's EMP is physically so much bigger than the Raven, but is the same size 4. How can this be? Well, expect the Warlock's one to be more powerful and to have upsides and downsides. The Raven ones have got the pulse generators, and he's got 2 of them. But we'll have to see how they play out and how they balance them in the future, though. I've heard CIG talk about replacement limbs with prosthetics and other such augments. Does this mean dismemberment? Possibly very gruesome. No, I very much suspect that you will... it's unlikely you'll see gore and dismemberment, really, in the game. You might get shotgunned in the arm, though, and killed, and then when you wake up in the hospital because you've lost one of your lives, you'll have a prosthetic arm or a bionic arm or whatever. The other thing is that maybe you can get bionics and stuff purely aesthetically. Why do you think the hangar lifts in Levski work differently than the other lifts in the best? I don't know, because they're bugged as fuck. Hopefully that will be fully sorted in 3.2. That's annoying for people. How many ships are projected to be in-game on release? Don't 100% know. I think it's 100. It's between 124 and 160 at the moment. Expect like 200-ish. That's what I'm expecting around now. Including variants, obviously. I've got a Reclaimer. I might get a Vulture. I might buy a Vulture. But I'm more likely to buy a Vulture in-game. You reflex punched your doctor as they put your dislocated elbow back in. Well, that must have been pretty painful. I'm not 100% sure how I got a kidney infection. I think you can get like urinary tract infections, which then spread to the kidneys. There's other ways, like you could have kidney stones and they could get infected. There's those other things. When FPS AI comes out, will it support 0G combat, or will we have to wait for that? I don't know. I know that the FPS combat AI they were working on, one of the reasons that it's moved to 3.3 is due to pathfinding. And I suspect that 0G is potentially more complicated. It might be less complicated, or it might be exactly the same complicated. Expect on the ground, and then a little bit later 0G. Because it was later in the schedule that they were going to have repelling people boarding ships and stuff. So, one of my top 5 favourite games, Star Citizen excluded. Okay. Half-Life 2. Half-Life. Command & Conquer Generals. Rust. There's quite a few. I need to really refine the list. And one of my favourites ever was To the Moon. I mean, like Free Space 2 is pretty high up on that list. Alien vs Predator 2. Payday 2. Lots of games with 2s in them. When ship buying is in-game is live, will our accounts be reset like they are? Yeah, your account will be reset like every big patch once it goes live, yes. You'll keep everything that you've bought. If you've bought ships with real-life money, they'll be on your account, but assume everything will be reset. .2 could potentially have better performance. We won't know until we won't actually know until it's live, because the PTU builds they can change with each patch and each build. It's 3.3 in September is we're going to see the biggest boost to performance, and then them dialing that in. The thing with the Prospector is that we want viable ships that we see in game. They haven't got them yet. We could get them with 3.2. I don't know. They will be having a flight-ready sale for 3.2. What is with the mining vehicles in the last holiday stream in December, as you know? What is with the mining vehicles in the last holiday stream? They're spider miners, I think, the ones you mean. Is it a no-moving object? We should see them in action at some point. I'm not. We'll see them in the persistent universe if they exist in Squadron 42. I'm not sure how big they are. I'm not sure if they're going to be drones. I'm not sure if they're going to be pilottable. How many Nox will fit in the Avenger rework? 2 or 3? At least 1. Dragonfly or a Nox will fit in there. Before beta, do you think CIG is further along with full progression? Oh, I see. Will they quit wiping everything in the persistent universe and move to feature testing? At beta, you might get a lot fewer or less wipes, but expect a big wipe before the game goes live. How many lives do you think each player will have? Don't know. I don't know. I don't think they know either. They'll make it so that it is reasonable and not infuriating. When you die, it's only a soft death anyway. You make a new character. You can give them all your old character stuff. You might get a death tax. You'll lose anything that your character physically had on you, unless you can recover it somehow. But it's not going to be the terrible. You mean you're about to get all the stuff. There might be a death tax. Might be a reputation hit. Do you think all the game mechanics will be worked out before we get another solar system to jump to? No, I think a lot of them will be implemented then. They'll finish the Stanton system, and then do jump points. That's what they do. So you might not get all the game mechanics in, and they'll certainly be working on those game mechanics that are in still, because they're going to be early iterations. I appreciate all the love. Appreciate it. I'm doing okay. I'm going to go to sleep again in a minute. I thought, because I can't be asked to do a video today, that I come on and say hello. Yeah, my page file is on my Optane drive as well. However, I've got 32 gigs of RAM, so... Have you ever played 7 Days to Die? Yes, Cameron introduced me to it. And it's on the second channel, there's a few videos of it. We play on the maximally hard settings, other than zombies only run at night. And if they're feral, they run. But they don't run during the day, normally. But other than that, everything is on the hardest settings. So the zombies are super hard, you die really easily. It's actually really fucking good fun, and we sort of like co-op. And we make sure we have a base above ground. It's very good for content. We'll play again soon. I'll talk to Cameron about it tonight, because I want to play before he has to go and work solidly on CitizenCon in like a month's time or whatever. In the ship pipeline, when will the Reclaimer be able to function? Any idea? Well, it'll be able to function in 3.3 with salvage, won't it?
Tricksy little hobbits.
It won't be the full thing. Wolf, OCE, thank you very much, Wolf. Much appreciated. Oos. Is that... Are you supposed to say that letters individually after... Who fucking knows? I'm very much looking forward to the new 8-core Coffee Lake Intel processors. Very much looking forward to the new AMD processors. I'm looking forward to Intel's graphics cards that they're making, which will increase some interesting... Shake up the market a bit, get some... more sort of like competition going. Nvidia's new graphics cards are pretty exciting as well. Sorry if you can hear a car brumming outside. Apologies. But 3.2 is when you also have the first functionality of the Reclaimer. At least that's what it's planned. It should be there because they pushed it back from 3.2. Question, crazy good wheat beer, Guinness type beer, or beautiful Scotch? Beautiful Scotch. Oh. All the way. How is the Vulture supposed to be sneaky when it's it's yellow equipment? Yeah, I mean that's true, but it means it's sneaky when it comes to its size, so its cross section and its emissions. Yeah, so there are going to be alternatives to the Optane drives and Optane technology coming out within the next year or two, which will be significantly cheaper. Also, a good M2 drive like the Samsung 790. They are twice the size, half the price, and they are really good. They're still really good. They just don't have the low latency that Optane has, and that is really cool, but it's not sort of like game-breaking, as it were. Very good for Star Citizen when Star Citizen's unoptimized. Yeah, so they'll wipe regularly as well, as you said, John, because they'll want to test progression and the starting of stuff and lots of things. They may even give you large amounts of UEC or ships or something at some point to test. Importance of OS and Star Citizen on SSD. Star Citizen on SSD, and a lot of games on SSD now, very important. Operating system, Windows 10, although it's got a lot of downsides, and the updates fucking break everything, it's so widely adopted and drivers are written for it that you kind of need to start thinking towards Windows 10. I'm sorry if people still want to be using Windows 7 like DC is. And he's like, nah, I'm staying on Windows 7 forever. And I was like, well, you're going to get nerfed drivers-wise. Will sensors be able to detect EVA players? Potentially. They will... EVA players, they will still create and have a signal. But if you've got very good scanners, or they're EVAing in a big suit, and yeah. We'll go to bed in a minute. Yeah, no worries. I hope they'll implement ship purchasing with Alpha UEC in 3.2, but it looks unlikely at this stage. only because they've been avoiding the question. We might though. With the 600i, is there anything you can say about remote turrets? So the way remote turrets are going to work is you go to a console and then you're literally controlling the turret from a camera. That's how remote turrets are planned to work. Right now our accounts get reset. When should I expect it not to happen anymore? When the game goes live. So a while. A good while. Thanks. It's not so much me being a trooper, it's that I wanted to complain at people and I was bored as fuck. Like, really bored. Everyone's at work that I would play games with normally. Has there been any word in the past about having set up specific sound settings, e.g. stereo headphones, able to support all of them? They haven't talked specifically about that, but I mean, it will support them all. It will support lots more graphics options and stuff in the future as well. Thinking along the lines of Spectrum integration, will we be able to go to terminals and surf real-life internet? And if so, would you do streams like this in-game? Yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot of integration with the Mobiglass and terminals where you might be able to have streamers and might be able to link outside sources and stream stuff. I think there might be some legal issues with that, but they can restrict it. There's definitely going to be ways of streaming stuff like from in-game somehow. I mean, there's the Mako Reliant is supposed to be a news van. They've got TVs and they're rented as texture deck, which means that you could have a picture or a live feed coming in from in-game to somewhere else pretty easily. So they can do some pretty cool stuff with that. And yeah, I'd love to do, with face over IP and voice over IP stuff, I'd love to do a load of stuff filming in-game. Why not? If it's too cringe, then maybe it'll be more fun. Are you excited for a new system? A new solar system? Yes, yeah, 100%. But they need to get the biomes and stuff done. They need to get Stanton finished first, and then they can rapidly build out the rest of the verse. The thing that will take a lot of time after that, or most time, will be hero assets. So specific buildings, statues, flora and fauna that's unique. But a lot of the stuff they can just reuse, reskin, retexture, edit a little bit, do cool things like that. At the current stage of Star Citizen development in its alpha, it is incredibly unoptimized, and yes, you need stupidly powerful hardware compared to what you should need. But in the future, that won't be so much of an issue. In addition to security forces, you think one day CIG will have moderator characters in game? Oh, maybe. I see what you mean. Would you allow CIG to use your face to make in-game celebrity? Oh my god, yes. I want to have my face scanned. Use my likeness. Steal my face. You gotta remember that a lot of YouTubers and streamers are basically attention whores. I think you'll have games masters in game, and I think you'll have people moderating. I'm not sure if they'll be super powered. Maybe if you go, well, you're super powered, but you're having to patrol. You've got a super powered ship, and you're having to patrol. You're basically the security forces. You're having to patrol this like newbie zone or something. That'd be kind of cool, but it'll be the most simple approach. So maybe just some games masters in game. The cutlass is... Oh. Bloody good point, isn't it? Access flipping denied. I think the cutlass might be smaller. Lengthwise, anyway. Maybe not width. Huh. We'll find out a lot more about the Vulture in RTV today, and then when the sale goes live later today. Yeah, so the way the Vulture works, let's bring up the picture of the Vulture again. The way the Vulture works, let's pause that. Is that you go up to something that you want to nom, and you could strip the components by hand if you want, like the power plant, if you want the weapons, and then you put them in your cargo bay. So round back, you put them in your cargo bay. You then use these lasers at the front to strip the hull of a ship if you wanted to do that, which would nom it up, and you could use that as a resource. Then you'd use breaching charges to blow up parts of hull, and then these things beam across and basically start processing the salvage. When it gets inside, then it will process the salvage into cubes and then put it into your cargo bay. Pretty simple. It's very by hand, very manual. I am good with them doing mini games in game. They can do a lot with the mobiGlas stuff, like they can have solitaire and gambling and loads of different things on there. Bam, really easy. And the physics thing, like having basketball games and pool, yeah, if they can do them simply and that just work, great. That sounds absolutely great. It's still in Evocati 3.2 currently. We're expecting it to go to wider PTU between now and next Friday. I am, anyway. Can you show me a link? What do you want to link to? Add the roadmap. Yeah. Ooh. There you go, buddy. What do you think will be added to the roadmap for 3.6? Good question. I think we'll have Crusader and or Microtech. So as gameplay areas. I think we'll have looting and persistent death. New weapons, new equipment, more 2.0 weapon / item 2.0 integration. A hell of a lot more missions. Obviously just iterations on the current mechanics. I'd like to see lots more game mechanics. Like, I want to see the building of outposts. I want to see all of that sort of like all of that come together. I'm hoping we see like the economy start to be tested in more earnest as well. So not too much. But,
oh, beautiful.
Mangalal, thank you very much for the bits. Very much appreciated. Woo! I appreciate that I may be a little bit more rambling than I am normally. A little bit less quick speaking. So I apologise for that. Evocati's not ended. Source, I am Evocati. Playing a ship pool while a ship quantum jumps would be awesome. How much bigger is the adventure rework than the original? Around 25% bigger. It's reasonably bigger. Noticeably larger. What about the asteroid belt? When do you think that will be fleshed out? Great spots for mining and pirates and gameplay in general. Probably pretty soon. You'll start to see that actually more fleshed out, probably in 3.2. That's coming up. More and more fleshed out. Obviously, mining and asteroid scanning is coming into 3.2. And will Area 18 be able to be travelable to at 3.4 December? The physics and gravity involved scares me. It'll be relatively simple. Star Citizen isn't going for a 100% physically accurate model or anything like that now. They are very much looking towards a fun, but with nods to physically accurate and stuff like that as well. So, will they make the game available to mobile phones? No, but Spectrum will be available on a mobile phone, and we're not sure what integration that will have in-game. You might be able to do some game management with it as well. So with the thingamajig, with the Vulture, bring this up again. I'm on the wrong account, so if you've got Concierge, you can see this page. However, there are 2 more packages here if you completed Pirate Swarm with your account. So I'm assuming that will be available in the main sale as well. But I've got that completed on my other account, but I don't have Concierge on my other account. Just have a Saber on it. But yes, that's true, but you don't need to have completed Pirate Swarm to get these packages, just these 2 that don't appear here. Because they are pirate skinned ones. Is there any news when we'll be able to do crew/group missions, cargo running, etc.? You will have more of that functionality in 3.2. They are adding friends and group systems. So 3.2, 3.3, you're going to get a lot more ability to play with your friends and actually share missions and share group. They've got quantum linking and stuff like that as well. So when you jump, you all jump together. So that functionality is coming in this patch, next patch, probably some more in 3.4 as well. They'll keep on using it to tweak it, but we're going to have face over IP and voice over IP as well in 3.3. So all of that group system, that's coming together now. I expect it to be pretty fleshed out by the end of the year. Fallout 76 is probably the game that's excited me the most at E3, for something that I consider I'll actually be playing. I'm sort of looking forward to Monster Hunter as well on the PC. Yeah, so I'd be happier if they got rid of third-person view and then enabled to have third-person view if like a little drone floats next to you. There's a downside to using third-person, and it's obvious that you're using third-person. You don't want third-person to give an advantage to someone. That's basically what I'm saying. Oh, I mean, I can play Star Citizen on a phone, sort of. I mean, really, I'd need Bluetooth mouse and keyboard to connect to my phone, and that's just stupid, because then I've got a little tiny phone, but I can technically play Star Citizen on my phone. Play on my tablet in a much better way, which is quite funny. I will get a video up on that at some point as well. Shadow have recently updated a load of their specs for their systems, the CPUs and their storage systems, and their software as well. So it's a bit of a better experience than it was previously. So I'll do a little update on that and explain what they've changed, and show off the fact you can use a crappy laptop, you can use a tablet, you can use a phone if you wanted as a gaming PC with Shadow, which is pretty cool. What are your thoughts on having a functioning player-driven democratic government in the game? I really like that. Now, orgs sort of could run like that if they wanted to individually, but I like the idea of there being governors and stuff like that as well. And you might see that in the future, and they might build it into fan fests and things like that. I like the idea. I like intrigue, and I like diplomacy, and I like political gameplay. 3.2 is supposed to release at the end of June. So, yeah, end of June, first week of... I wouldn't be upset it was the first week of July, because whatever. With the integration of text and voice chats in-game, what features do you see as essential to making the integration successful? With voice over IP working, you need ways of blocking people, you need ways of grouping with people. I don't really know. I'd have to make a list and think about that. You need all the basics that you can have in other games. You need to be able to block people. You need to be able to turn channels on and off. I think they're using the Opus codec as well, which is the same as Mumble, so it's interesting to see what voice quality we get with it. What will be the level of persistence in 3.2? Lost all my ships in 3.1, logging out from the beds, but respawn at Olisar. They're planning to have more persistence in 3.2 with persistent ship damage and ammo and all that sort of stuff. Expect more and more persistence with every patch and every mini patch as well. I don't know to exact what level. I'm hoping that when we log out and when we log back in, that's where we'll be. We'll be where we logged out. in our ship or whatever, and that bed logging will work properly in 3.2. I'm hoping. Don't know. Don't know until it goes live. Even if it's in the PTU or whatever, we don't know until it goes live. Yeah, so Shadow works by remotely connecting to another computer, and then your computer pretends it's that computer. So they've got, you can use like a Shadow box, which is a little £100, or you can rent it or whatever, thing that you can just connect to a TV or a monitor, and then it connects for you to your Shadow PC. Which is a great for some people. It's all dependent on your internet connection though. Like, you need a good internet connection, and your internet connection needs to have low latency, which is probably based on the amount of hops or how close it is to the exchange, or to the actual servers for Shadow. So some people it's absolutely great for. It's as good as, almost, if not better than their home PC. For some people, the latency is a little bit too high, so that you've got input lag, which is obviously really annoying if you're trying to play first-person shooter games. So it's not right for everyone, but it's pretty good for a lot of people. Speaking of third person, when will they fix it to make it more playable, usable, as opposed to purely aesthetic? Well, that's what we're talking about. Like, at the moment, it's aesthetic. We need to make sure that it doesn't give people an advantage. I like the drone idea. I like the drone idea as well, because it says, well, look, I'm taking screenshots. You know what I mean? Like, I'm taking screenshots. I'm gonna look over here. Like that idea, allows you to do some cool stuff, allows you to do cinematics and stuff, and also have a reason and for it not to be too exploitable. I'm good, thank you very much, Commander Trigon. I mean, I'm not. That's a lie. I think a little bit better as I said that. I've got a kidney infection. I'm hot, and I feel rough. That's actually what I meant to say. It's just a platitude of, yeah, I feel great. No, I feel fucking shit. Will we all have to fly about, or could you own a shop fixing, upgrading people's ships, or some such? Yeah? Yeah? I mean, you could live on a planet in an outpost. You could have a abandoned merchantman and have a shop on board, and it's just like a floating bazaar. Yeah? Has there ever been word on climbing animation? Are you talking about, so there's going to be vaulting, so there's going to be like mid-levels of climbing. Are you talking about actually grabbing onto a rock and pulling up? I haven't seen that in game. I was thinking about it the other day and thinking, up to certain levels, it will be vaulted. But I would like the ability to be able to climb up rocks, but then they'll do procedural animations for it and stuff, so I don't know. Multi-crew functionality will be significantly better in 3.2. MFDs will work better. Item System 2.0 is online for power and weapons in a lot better way, so the actual changes to those systems that you make, and shields and where you put your power make a lot more sense and do a lot more for your ship. So having someone else doing that, and especially on a large ship, will make a lot more sense. Turrets are going to be a lot better. So multi-crew functionality is going to be continued to be improved. Still got a lot of a way to go, but it's going to be a lot better in 3.2. I'm not sure when they'll call a release 4.0, but expect by the end of next year, probably more systems. I'm hoping Stanton should be finished, and they should be looking at doing more systems. No, Paul Jones is not my older brother, not as far as I'm aware. Do they have a development status chart showing bugs, or did they do that for 3.0, 3.2? Well, just the roadmap at the moment, and you can go on the issue council to see the bugs. You can go, the patch notes will show known bugs. If you go on the support, this is a great website as well for a lot of your questions. It's their knowledge base. It's a huge amount of data that you can literally just search for. Whatever happened to Titan Armor? Titan Armor will probably go on concept this year. It's probably going to be one of the biggest sellers ever, I suspect, because it's a cool little mech suit. I will certainly be buying one, because I'm a sucker. But probably Citizen Con, so I'm expecting to see them, because it's a big sale. Have we seen anything since you went on your studio tour? As in, is there more that you've seen that we haven't? NDA. Yes, there is. We saw some bits in Squadron 42 and some ships, and lots of the tech they're bringing online, stuff beyond what they've got on the roadmap currently. Or at least it's not listed on the roadmap. I might play a bit more PlanetSide again this weekend. I get quite into PlanetSide. I'll check out the Razor on YouTube. No worries. Yeah, I think a lot of people hate the Voyager store. You're going to be able to melt that stuff. They're going to bring that in-game. So, that'll be good. Looking at the roadmap, there was a lot of 3.2 stuff still in development. Hope they can get it all out in time. Yeah, they should be able to. And an argument. Are there cybernetics in Star Citizen? There aren't at the moment. They've talked about them. We may see bionics and cybernetics and stuff in Star Citizen. They might be aesthetic. They might be when your character gets injured. But it's sort of like something they've talked about, we haven't seen. They've talked about it both ways of they might give you a buff or improvement. They might be probably aesthetic. So sorry I can't end an argument for you. PlanetSide is still a thing. It's got some good stuff. I play around on a lot of different games as well. It's purely Star Citizen is an odd one for me because I don't well I do care because it looks very pretty, but I'm all about gameplay. Gameplay over what it looks like. Any more questions or things people want to ask? Or does anyone want to look at anything? The monocle is cybernetic, yeah, but it's not. Shit. So they are working on some of the older ships. Was the Orion in the original Kickstarter era? Was it? Might have been. The Orion was well past Kickstarter. The Orion's doubled in size. I mean, they've been working on these ships. I mean, the huge, massive Orion, which is doubled in size, probably will take a while to implement. When a truck stop's going to be available and usable like CryAstro. I think they're replacing CryAstro, and we will start to see them in 3.3. I will start accepting applications for my org once I feel better. So between now and the end of the month, I will set it all up. I need a bit of a structure in place, so that there's stuff for us to do and there's a plan, even if everyone's an affiliate. So Frostpunk was fine, but I completed it on hard and all the modes in like a week. Strategy games are my thing. Like I'm actually relatively skilled at. I'm very good at rapid iteration and understanding like resources and things. So I want to do economy and stuff in Star Citizen. Do you think there'll be executive people transport missions for the 600i? Yes, I do. I think that CIG got inundated with people saying you need more planned mission content for the 600i, and they went, okay, yeah, we'll probably do the VIP transport missions for them as well in the future. Death of the Spaceman. Our characters will be extremely valuable to players. Do you think CIG will implement RPG elements like HP? Give you time to bug out in a fight? Well, you sort of do. I mean, you'll have health. You'll know, be able to see your character. They will have stat health that you might not know. Be able to see the exact stat that you're at. And you'll be able to see how damaged your ship is and stuff. So you'll be able to bug out in a fight all the time. Will the Borg crew be participating in the Daymar rally? Yes, Mr. Pinks. We will be more of a comedy team though, and getting footage and stuff as well. Give the rest of what off? All of my eyebrows. You want to be caught to Jester? Just share that with DC, I think. The 600 Drive is pretty cool. It's Evocati, so there's lots of issues with stuff, but it's at least awe-inspiring. Grand Admiral Marine's responsibility. be as cynical as you want as a jester. That is true. Do you think we'll see /space craft chemtrails in the skies of breathable atmosphere as they're being developed? We'll see the engine trails and stuff. They might be quite minimal, although I suspect they'll be pretty cool looking. What ship design or concept do you have in mind you personally want in game? I'd like a either a manufacturing. The concept wise, I want something. I want manufacturing in game. I want to be able to build ammo, munitions, systems, items, and ships. That would be what I put in game. Crafting, that factory economy stuff. I'm not really following the World Cup now. Lorenzo, it's they've said it's not going to be pay to win. It's definitely pay to advantage. We won't know until a bit later. It probably won't be. It's almost certain that it won't be. And the community need to keep CIG, make sure it doesn't be pay to win. So I would wait a little while until beta or until the game's released. Because as much as people can say it's not going to be pay to win, other people can argue the other, because you can buy ships. So it's worth waiting, if that's your concern. With more gameplay coming online and the player lead events being a thing now, player-led events, when do you feel the news van style gameplay will also be a thing? That's a good question. It'd probably be quite late. So there's obviously the science mechanics they need to get into the game. And farming and quite a lot of other stuff, but the actual use of render to texture and broadcasting of that sounds like a big task to me. So expect later in development, at the end, towards the end of 2 years, sort of thing. From now is my expectation of that. I just thought of a last question board with bounty hunting and bounties. You reckon they'll add a mechanic where you can return a dead player body for bounty? Yeah, I think that'll be a thing. Dead or alive. Probably get more if they're alive. Probably some ones where you can only return them alive to get the money. I mean, pay to win and pay to advantage are not the same thing. There are various definitions. Pay to win, from a traditional point of view, is literally locked behind. So you can only get this, or it's exclusive to people that pay. Pay to advantage is Eve pay to win. With Plex is it's like, come on, where do you draw the line? But pay to advantage is not necessarily pay to win at all. You can be competitive in Eve without having to pay for anything other than a subscription. You don't even need a subscription now with Eve, which is even better. So rather than debating the terms of what pay to win and pay to advantage are, I'd say, is there going to be inequality in the verse? Yes. Is that inequality going to prevent you from doing anything? No. It's probably going to increase the things that you can do. Will it lock you down into people just being better than you? No. They could have an earlier game advantage, especially if you one-on-one them, which is unlikely. Also, NPCs will have those ships. So inequality is going to be a thing in the game. Is it worth, say, the 23 upgrade bucks, or better to save?
Tricksy little hobbit.
I like the Avengers. Zawa Jawa. Thank you very much for the sub. Thank you, appreciate it. I mean, you're going to be able to get everything in game, so I'm not sure if it's worth spending more money on the stuff. If you're in love with a ship, and you've got the spare money, then potentially upgrade. The Cutlass and the Avenger, both great ships. The Avenger Titan, though, is probably my favourite sort of ship because it's so cheap. For like what it is, especially now that it's getting bigger. And here it is, in fact. Got a lot bigger. It's increased in size by about 25%. Beautiful little penguin. Show us a little board with her. We can. There you go. There's some chest hair, mate. Yeah, is that what you wanted? That really hurt my kidney, moving up like that. So that's a bad idea. At least I feel more awake. How? Will you be able to block players? Do you think that's a good idea? Interesting that you say that. You don't want to be able to block players that are bounty hunting you and stuff. I think you'll be able to report players. I think you'll be able to mute players. And I think you'll be able to block them from friends lists. Dutch Line is pay to win. Fair point. I haven't actually played that for years. I played it very briefly when it came out. If the grind is so extensive, so it's technically behind a paywall, yeah, but you'll be able to join up with other people to buy stuff. You'll be able to run orgs. You'll be able to pilot other people's ships. I mean, yeah, if it's so extensive that it takes several years to grind up per ship, then yeah, you could probably argue that that would be behind a paywall. The idea is that with pay to advantage, it should allow people in a perfect situation that are just weekend players that want to put a little bit of money into the game to be closer to players that are able to play throughout the week. It definitely gives you some form of advantage, Bruce, paying for stuff, getting like UEC and stuff. However, it might not give you much of an advantage, is what I'm saying. We won't know, and it's hard to argue it either way until we have a more fleshed out game, and until we know how insurance is going to work, how ships are going to work, and the progression and that sort of stuff, and how stuff actually plays out. So I think it's a reasonable concern to consider, and we need to make sure that CIG don't overly monetize or make it pay to win. We need to make sure that the progression is fair, and that if they are selling UEC and stuff, or whatever, ships, because there's always going to be a black market for a game, and I don't see any issue for CIG regulating that black market by monetizing their stuff themselves. When do I think this game will be finished? Probably at 3 years for Star Citizen to be a released product, in my opinion. 2 years for a beta, is what I'm expecting anyway. So it hasn't lost that much in the way of agility, the Avenger, even though it's got bigger. It's improved. The Avenger has been improved. It's pretty cool. It hasn't lost that much way of agility. It is a bigger target now, though. Yeah, you'll be able to buy everything in game eventually. Obviously, at this stage, the game isn't a sit down and play game, which is infuriating to some people that want to be able to buy stuff in game and want to be able to play the game, playing what they've got available at the moment. Should I buy the Vulture, even knowing that I'm not interested in small reclamation ship, and just get it for the look? No, because it reminds you of the ship in Eve. Gieran is the one that started this controversy, by the way, that you're reading on other sites, by mentioning it to me when we started getting the ship parts, and then I started talking about it on stream and on Reddit. I wouldn't get it, Gieran, if you're not interested in the gameplay. With respect to small arms, to use, see a place for tranquilizer type ammunition for bounty hunting. There will definitely be less than lethal ways of taking people down. I think it's going to be beyond. So Star Citizen, the way it's pegged at the moment, is an MMO. It's definitely several magnitudes beyond MMO Lite. They've talked about potentially after the initial release of Star Citizen, you may be able to choose other races, but it's going to be humans in the short to medium term, whatever. There's always going to be a black and grey market in the game, even if CIG are regulating that with their own sale of UEC and ships and stuff. They don't want to overly monetize, and they need to make sure that they really, really, really make the game fun, and the player base is the most important thing. Chap, I'm not very good at writing titles at the moment because I am slightly sick, unfortunately. Apologies for a slightly confusing title. Reverse the Verse is at 4 p.m. UTC today, I think. I doubt we'll have nukes. I think like the large torpedoes and bombs will be the main thing. Nukes might get used in lore and story. They might be like super military only, but used in like lore and that sort of stuff. Go play Total War 2 then. See if I care, mate. I need to play that campaign of Total War 1 and 2. The big one. Big Mighty Empires one. How difficult do you think it will be to land a ship inside another? There should be auto land, or at least assists to landing. It won't be that hard. If people start cannibalizing prospectors for their mining lasers, fitting them to their vultures and forming fleets of those, I'm going to start getting PTSD. Bob Mitch, I want to talk to you later because I really like your content at the moment. I'll talk to you about doing something more semi-permanent. I want to try and promote your channel or get you involved with my stuff or something. I really like your stuff. What if player characters were allowed to turn into NPCs when they log off? I mean, like they do in Grand Theft Auto, sort of. I mean, what if they die and stuff? People get really annoyed. I think it's a bad idea. I sort of like kind of like it. I just don't see a way of it not being like, and now he's dead. Just wait for someone to log off before you kill them. Hey, boy, chicken soup, brown paper, and goose grease. Make you feel wonders. I'm drinking a load of cranberry and raspberry juice. And I had a turkey sandwich earlier. Oh my fucking god, that felt good. I haven't got much of an appetite, but I feel hungry. I'm like, I don't want to eat. Who eats geese? I've had goose. Goose is lovely. Any other questions about anything? Does anyone want to talk about anything? Questions? Because what I'll do is I'll drink a load of water in a second and go back to bed. People are asking me how do they join my org. I will set up the org within the next couple of weeks. Steve Mitch messaged me on Discord as well. Oh, yeah, I want to play on Killing Floor 2. That's a good point. They've got an update for that. Do you see... I've talked about that, Tyree, a few times. So we don't know about the naming system. So do you see Star Citizen in 4.0 hitting a massive multiplayer Eve Star MMO? At some point, it will get to that level. I'm just not sure when. Expect a couple of years for a beta to be more like that. I'm not sure about naming conventions. I'm not sure if CIG know about naming conventions. There is literally a BoredGamer.org. Okay, what I'll do is I'll start accepting thingamajigs now. Bear with me. I won't look at them until next week. Find BoredGamer. Gonna be a social org for planning and stuff like that. There you go. Is there a way of allowing me? Probably turned recruitment off, didn't I? There we go. I won't look at that. I've got fucking loads already. I did that so well. Feel free to be like that. Will be like an affiliate one. Like we'll run it socially. We'll run it for planning stuff, and then we'll in the future it'll be more social as well rather than gameplay mostly. But we'll see. It might evolve differently. Use it for community stuff. When you say remote turrets are a camera view from a turret, is that a full screen view or a window on the console controlling from? I believe it is supposed to be a full screen view. That's the current intention. It's not a screen within a screen within a screen. It would literally be that camera. You see the arm thing on the Vulture animation come out. Don't see it on the final renders. It's about the concept. I don't know. We'll see more about that tonight. That's the preview of the Vulture, your ship, Sky Early Bird. Because I'm on a different account. Storyboard, I joined late. Has there any whispers on 3.2 going to a wider audience? Expect it between now and next Friday. That's what I'm expecting. But it will literally be based. There will be a bug, and they'll fix it, and they'll be like, "Oh shit, we've got all the bugs that we want fixed." And we've got a release candidate, and they'll just go live. And that could be today, could be on Monday, all the way up to Friday. It could be later than that, but it's quite likely, very likely, in fact, between now and Friday. That will be concierge and subscribers, potentially first wave as well. Yeah, 3.2 is cool. It's like any other Evocati patch. Buggy as fuck. You hammer out a load of the bugs. And then as soon as it gets less infuriating bugs, then it goes to a wider PTU. Oh, thanks, Robert. Much appreciated. You can tell me to fuck off every month. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, so in a minute, I'm going to go to bed. But later on today, we've got RTV, where they'll be talking more about the Vulture. Vulture, cool salvage ship, $120. I think it's $140 if it's not if you're buying it with store credit. Probably quite easy to get in game. So if you're really into it, maybe buy it. But I'm advising against this one. I think it'll be easy to get in game. What else? Anything else I wanted to talk about? Was there anything cool in the news? We saw some more cool little biome stuff with Huston with the tundra biome. Cool stuff with the trees. We saw some cool interiors of the Hammerhead. We've got Spectacular, Brunt, and Clem, some new mission giver NPCs, which look like they might all be coming in 3.2. Distortion Repeater actually looks pretty cool as a ship weapon as well. It sustains regular damage to shields and then systems, so they might actually be pretty good as a weapon. Vulture on sale later tonight to everyone. People that want to know more about how the waves will work for the for 3.2 and the PTU, there is the FAQ on that. Here are all. This is cool. I like this. These are all the ships and where they are in progress, based on a color chart and their respective sizes. The merchantman's got big. Very much into the Hammerhead as well. 600i is pretty big. Yeah, 890 jump and 600i. So much bigger than the Constellation. The Vulture should be available to CCU as well, yes. All right. I'm going to drink some water, go to bed. I might, if I wake up a little later, I'll play some games. I might I'm unlikely to stream again. If I wake up like in the middle of the night or whatever, I might do a video on the Vulture sale or RTV summary or something. But thank you very much. Thank you for all the donations. Thank you for all the subs. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the messages of love. It's very much appreciated. I am just whining more than anything else. I don't do well when ill because I'm bored as hell. I just want to do work. Assuming they don't fight back, will salvagers be able to strip and salvage and damage ships that are still fully functional? I believe so, yes. they'll be able to non bits off of them and destroy bits off of them. I'm not sure. I think they'll have to be stationary though, typically, or like some bits need to be blown off with salvage charges, and some bits need to be dealt with ships that are stationary. So you need to like hold them with tractor beams or whatever. But yeah, I think you can nom up functional ships. The 600i is said to be faster and more manoeuvrable than the Connie. Did that make it into the ship? We won't know until a live build, and then they'll still be balancing it more than that. Is definitely going to be pretty agile and fast for its size because it's got pretty good components. But it is very big. Thank you very much. I love you guys. We'll go host someone. Someone will be online, won't they? Team. Go host someone. Let's do that. I've just typed in T. And I've got lots of pictures of tea on my screen from Google. Tea. I'm literally the worst. Oh. Who's online? Anyone interesting online? I'm playing anything. We will go give Twerk some love. He's doing IRL stuff. Hopefully he's not like...
And consider your target carefully. Attention.
He's looking at Fallout 76 and stuff, which is good because again, might be covering on my thing later. So we'll go and host Twerkapoos. I love your faces. You take care. And I'll see you soon. Apologise for being rough as hell today. But thank you very much for joining me. We actually have to type in the raid command. /raid twerk 17. Oh, ciao. Talk soon. If you need to message me, or you want to talk to me, or you want to join the org, or whatever, feel free to jump into the Discord, discord.gg/BoredGamer. You can get me there easily. You can ask me questions. You can ask me questions, ask the devs, stuff like that. It gives me ideas for videos and what to do in the future. You guys are great. Love your faces. Take care. All that shit. Not for me. Got ideas for games as well. Please tell me. And we're planning to play a really shit game over the weekend. Take care, guys.